just visiting from Nairobi, and we hope to have her again some other time. Janet Otieno has been sojourning in the United States of America, and of course that beautiful gospel piece came to you from Africa Radio. The show is African Cocktail. We are doing the 71st episode with Desarray Ay and Kem Bumbara as main guests in this edition of the show. Just right ahead, we shall be talking to lots and lots of other people. For example, we shall have Nollywood producer Dtyme Ngozi and her director Nnabue Ike, who was just flown from Nigeria because the other side, which is the film they did a couple of weeks ago, will be launched this Sunday. And of course, Sunday will be the 26th of October. A day before then, entertainers, artists, and of course filmmakers will converge on Houston, Texas to commemorate the third episode of the Golden Icons Movie Academy Awards, call it Giama. And of course we shall be talking to Dtyme and her director, who has just come from Nigeria. Then when we go to Cameroon, we shall be talking to yet another filmmaker. His name is Agbor, Obed Agbor. He is the CEO of Zoom Studio, situated in the University neighborhood of Moliko in Boya, Southwest Provincial Headquarters, original headquarters in Cameroon. Then still from Boya, we shall be listening to our Central African correspondent Ifaana Qualar, who will definitely be talking to Clem Omaheze, Nollywood frontline actor, in this episode of African Cocktail. Don't forget that Titus Banyoh will be calling us from Antwerp, Belgium, with his Belgium report, and of course Solomon Atah's South Connect will be yours from Johannesburg. We shall also have music, lots and lots of interesting music on the show today. It's going to be a special edition of the show, so we have programmed special music. And talking about special music, we are going to go the Zouk way today. We're going to do what has been conveniently described as Afro Zouk. That is Zouk music done by African artists. And we are doing our Zouk right today because of the fact that we're having a special guest. She has connections with the islands as well. I'm talking about Desarray Ay, who is the producer of 48 Hours. We shall be talking about all of that in this episode of African Cocktail. Let's begin with Zouk à la manière des Congolais, and this one is titled Muchana. Is by Kanda Bongoman. Muchana, très très belle chanson de Kanda Bongoman, un légende de la musique congolaise. Une très belle chanson sortie dans les années 80. Mesdames, mademoiselles, messieurs, vous êtes bel et bien branchés sur les ondes de Africa Radio. Vous êtes à l'écoute de African Cocktail avec votre ami de chaque mercredi, Ernest Kanjo. Okay. It's exactly 28 minutes past 10, time for us to begin our conversation with our main guests in this episode of African Cocktail. We have Desarray Ay and of course Kem Bumbara, film producer and director respectively. Okay, let's move to Maryland and begin our conversation. Desarray and Kem, once again, you're welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
So, let us begin by knowing more about both of you, probably beginning with the lady. So, Desarray, could you just describe your family background? I know we've had you on this show twice, but then we had not actually known more about you. Today, we have to know more about this up-and-coming filmmaker. So, tell us, Desarray.
Definitely not a problem. It's my pleasure. My family background is my mother is from Port-au-Prince, Haiti. So bonjour, comment ça va? I'm in Haiti right now. All my Haitian Americans listening, supporting. And my father is from Durban, South Africa.
Right.
Shout out to all my South Africans, everyone in Africa right now. I'm just super excited. So that's my family dynamic. We're just one really big Afro-Caribbean family mix.
Wow. Okay. That's beautiful, Desarray. I'm learning something today. South African. I thought this was your mom who is South African, but now you tell me it's your dad. That's interesting. Okay, Kem, let us know more about you, please.
Well, like I said before, I'm from Cameroon. Both of my parents are from Cameroon. You know, I grew up back home. Like I said, I'm from Banyoh. Grew up back home with my entire family. Yeah, no, my dad passed when I was about 2 years old. I've been with a single mother for the rest of my life, and you know, I live with my entire family, and we in the United States. I live with my brother, my sister, and my mom as well. So, yeah.
Right. So we stay with you, Kem. Could you just tell us about your educational background? What did you study? Where did you study?
Currently, I'm at PG Community College. I study film, theater art, and you know, throughout the past years, I've been doing research. You know, studying film and researching about film, and you know, that's been all my life ever since I left high school.
So why this interest in film studies?
Studying film has been, you know, what I love to do. You know, in fact, doing film is what I really, really love to do. Everything that occurs in my mind. I remember growing up as a kid, you know, it is, I wanted to be an actor, and I wanted to, you know, I just love film. It has been through me, so I just love studying it. That's me.
And how has this had an impact in your life?
It had a great impact in my life because everything I do or everything I think of is film-like. You know, whether I'm in a restaurant or I'm driving down the street, I'm just seeing cars pass by. In my head, I just want to see it explode or have something, you know, movie-like happen. You get what I'm saying? So, you know, that has been through me.
And if it wasn't a film, what would it have been, Kem? If you have to turn the hand of the clock backwards, would you pick up some other discipline?
I don't know. I probably would, you know, I wouldn't know. It's just film. Ever since, you know, I've loved film making, and first of all, growing up, I wanted to be an actor.
Right.
You know, yeah, so everything, you know, I told my mom, and they all knew me. My mom gave me a camera when I was a baby, and everything about me has just been filmed, so I wouldn't think of anything else I would be doing right now.
Right. I tend to Desarray. I understand you studied journalism and theater in college. But apparently, Desarray, you've departed from journalism. Am I right?
I did. I mean, shout out to everybody in New York right now who's listening, because I'm originally from New York before moving to Maryland. I graduated from Pace University, so I have my bachelor's degree in writing journalism, minoring in psychology.
Right.
But I was also studying theater. My vocal and my theater stage coach, shout out to Mr. Wilson, who's probably listening right now. I spent many years studying film, studying theater, studying the art of cinematography.
Right.
Because I wanted to be able to bring something to my acting that was different. I didn't want to just be an actor. I wanted to understand my angles. I wanted to understand the presence of my voice, if it could carry. I wanted to learn how to age my voice, to change my facial expression. So if you were to mute the television and watch me, you understood the feeling that I was giving you.
Right.
There's a lot of things that I wanted to understand about art and theater and acting to make it a little bit more expressive. I took my time, and then, of course, then entering the producing realm, all the things that I was studying also helped even more, because then I knew what I wanted as a producer.
Right. Okay, Desarray Ay and Kem Bumbara are the main guests in this episode of African Cocktail. Thank you very much, gentleman and lady. I'll be right back with you.
Thank you.
After that beautiful one, Muchana by Kanda Bogoman, we now move on to listen to the story that will be told by Pierrette Adams. Pierrette Adams is another African musician who has also hit the mark. Okay, listen to this beautiful one, then we'll be right back.
Histoire d'amour.
Just overhead, we shall be moving back to Maryland to meet Kem Bumbara and Desarray Ay in this episode of African Cocktail. You are listening there to Notre Histoire by Pierre Adams. And now let's move over to Cameroon and meet Eboalotin in this one titled Jara. Okay, well, we hear our main guests are back on the line. Desarray and Kem, are you back with us?
Yes, we're back with you.
Okay, so you're welcome back. Okay, let me begin with Desarray this time. You are a writer. For how long have you been practicing this art of writing, Desarray?
I've been writing for as long as I can remember. I've always been one of those people to keep a journal, keep a diary. So I think since I was about 9 or 10, I've always had a diary. And then when I graduated high school, I actually went to law school first. I spent a semester in law school, and then one of my professors, she said after my first paper, she was like, "You're in the wrong profession." She said, "You're a natural writer. I don't think you're going to be happy as a lawyer." And till this day, my parents hate that professor, but I wind up, because of that professor, I left law school and, pursued my career in writing. And I'm very grateful for that. Very, very grateful.
Now, did any writer inspire you, or you just thought you too should become a writer? Where did you get that inspiration from?
Oh my God! Okay. You're gonna make me sound like the biggest nerd on national radio. I grew up just reading. If there's two things I did in my house was read and watch movies. So I read Sylvia Plath to Langston Hughes to Maya Angelou. Anyone who knows me knows I'm like the biggest fan of Maya Angelou, Omar Chair, Zane. I read a plethora of different type of books, from nonfiction to fiction to novels to poetry. I read anything that touched me. And when I read things, my imagination would move, and I would see things visually. And that's the thing that drew me to writing, is because I love when I write, and then I can see things moving in my head. I can see a scene playing out. I can see the story playing out. So, yeah.
And so, Desarray, how many film scripts have you written so far, and which of them have been shot?
Well, most people don't know this. I actually have 2 other films. 48 Hours is probably my biggest film. That would be the first film anyone knows me for as a writer. But in high school, I produced a film with my high school called Green Line, because we were trying to raise money for our school computers. So I wrote this team script, you should say, and we were able to produce that film, and we were able to win that competition, which was ironic. And then again, in my first year of college, working with another film crew, I went and I produced another short student film called, The Smoking Gun, and that did really cool. It was on YouTube. But I was just playing around because I was still trying to learn the craft of producing. When it came down to 48 Hours, this was the first time I had all my eggs in the basket, I should say. I knew exactly what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. And since doing 48 Hours, me and Kem collectively were getting ready to work on another film this February called Isaiah. Don't ask me because I'm not going to give anything away. We're working on a documentary right now. We have a short film. We've been busy because now I'm addicted. Now I want to just continue producing my own scripts and giving opportunities to new people and allowing people to play characters that are extremely outside of the box and push their talents out even more.
Let me turn to Kem. Kem, I just want to find out about your relationship with film scripts. I know that in as much as film directors call the shots, they are also very versed with scripting and scripts. So could you just tell me your experience with film scripts?
Currently I'm at PG Community College. I took script analysis. I've worked on script reading and all those classes. took classes on that, and I've done research. I've read a lot of script. I remember back in PG, we did a book Hamlet by Shakespeare. We did a script analysis on that, took a whole semester doing that. So read script back and forth, did a lot of script reading, and that's how when Desarray sent me the script, I was pretty much used to that. I just got the script, and we talk back and forth on it, and we know what to do when it comes to putting it in motion pictures.
Now, Kem, let me find out this from you. As a film director, how much say do you have in changing a writer's script?
Pretty much a lot. But Desiree had me the script. To be sincere with you, I'm pretty much coming into this film industry. When she handed me the script, it was pretty challenging. I read it, I went back and forth on it, I came to her, and I spoke with her, I told her what I'm thinking, and fortunately, she loved my ideas, she loved what I'm thinking, she liked the craziness in my head, so she was like, okay, let's get on board and work on this. So, that has been it.
Desirray, I've always said that the biggest strength in art, especially filmmaking, is writing. Could you just tell me, how do you go along with it from conception to completion? How does the process work with you, Desirray?
It's actually a weird process with me. Once I have it in my head that I'm going to get ready to do a script and I have the story, I'm like a hermit crab. I kind of lock myself in the house for like a couple of days. And listen, there are going to be people that listen to this show and go, no, that's still not. It does not take me a month to write a script. It literally takes me about 2 to 3 days maybe. And I'll literally will sit at my desk for 12, 13 hours straight. Kem will tell you, when I had the idea for 48 hours, I didn't even have the script yet. I just said, I have something in my head. Give me 2 days. And I sat in front of my computer for 12 hours straight, listening to the same song on repeat. That's my weird thing. I listened to one song for 12 hours. I was actually listening to Jay Martin's for 12 hours, and I literally wrote 48 hours. That's kind of how I am. I mean, I've been writing for over the last 7 years professionally, but it doesn't take me a long period of time to cultivate my ideas and put all my thoughts together, because I'm weird in a sense where my scripts come to me in dreams. Like I'll walk around during the day and I see things and I go, boom, that's my scene right there. This is my scene. And when I have writer's block, I act out my scene. I'm fortunate of being an actress. I can get up and act out the scene, and then once I realize how I acted it out, boom, sit back on the computer and type it out. So it's kind of that weird process with me. Kem won't call me. Nobody calls me during those days because I'm grumpy. I just want to sit on a computer and write and listen to one song and drink lots of fruit punch, I guess. Yeah.
Now, Desirray, in our research about you prior to this interview, we found out that you authored a book which you independently wrote. Deja Vu is the title of that book. We also hear it was a sellout. What was this book all about? Could you just tell us what this book was all about and how you got to conceive and write it?
In 2011, there was a 2010. I got out of a really long relationship. I was in a relationship for like about 5.5 years. And this was someone that I had thought that I was going to spend the rest of my life with. And then when I ended that relationship, I had all this pent-up aggression, pent-up energy. And I remember literally sitting in front of my computer, back and forth, on and on. And about a month later, Deja Vu was written. it was based on a character, and I named the character Desarray. Don't ask me why, but I just did. And it was just about a girl going through the worst in a relationship and trying to find her own voice. I wrote it because I realized sometimes as women, we will stay in a relationship that is meant for us to end. And then we wonder why we're so miserable. When it's time for us to leave, we must understand it's time for us to leave. So that's what the book was about. And ironically enough, there were so many women that had a connection to the book, you know. And when I released the book in 2011, after a month, I was sold out. I was tapped out. I didn't have any more copies. And then so we re-released it again, and then again I sold out. It was really one of the most prolific experiences of my life, because I was sharing a bit of myself, a bit of what I had went through in a relationship. And it was weird because I was so shy about revealing bits and pieces about myself, but come to find out there were so many women going through that same issue. And I was getting so many letters and so many people writing me on Facebook and MySpace at the time, because MySpace was really cool. And everyone was like, thank you for being honest, because when you were being honest, I got to be honest with myself. So it was just one of those moments for me, and I just realized we have a power in what we do as artists, as singers and rappers, as filmmakers, as actors. We have a power. Because when people come to listen to us sing, people come watch us act, people come watch our movies, they're coming with their problems. And there are people that look for answers in artists. So if we understand that power, then we need to use that power wisely and be honest and just help people.
Okay, if we understand that power, we'll be able to use it wisely and help people. Desiree, thank you so much. We'll be back with you and Kem just right ahead in this episode of African Cocktail, the 71st, of course, coming to you from Africa Radio. We're broadcasting from the city of Columbus. We are in the state of Ohio, the United States of America. Good morning to Ken Shally Monette, our resource person who is monitoring this episode of African Cocktail and making sure that everything is done as it is supposed to be. Okay, let's listen to some music. We are with Agbor in this one title, Genre.
Dondiwa Lola ting 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 Manuma pena senga de wakabongo bandombi To opanyande ne opoite wano matimande na fokakate Ekubo ewope ebende ebola misosi na mibandan Motena fini kema wana misori o misoe Misori mi bala no be misungwa ba misoe Misori mi bala no be mituba ba miso Ebiyanera wasi esenyere nyai Kem amuja mnyabodo ninduwa.
Just right ahead, we shall be going to Cameroon, where we have Agbor, Obed Agbor, who is a filmmaker. And of course, he'll be talking to us about his exploits in this domain. Then don't forget, Houston, Texas is also on standby. We shall be having Dtyme Ngozi Ibe and the director of The Other Side, which will be launched this Sunday in Houston, Texas, just the day after the Giama Awards. Meantime, Bess Davis is one of the actors featuring in 48 Hours. Davis, on which we're focusing today. Best Davis is USA Nollywood actor. Best will also join us in this episode of African Cocktail to tell us about his experience with Desarray Ay's 48 Hours, directed by Kem Bumbara. Both of whom I guess in this episode of African Cocktail. So just right ahead, we shall be moving to Maryland as well to talk to Best Davis. Okay, from Cameroon with a balloting, we now move over to Gabon, where we meet Olivier Ngoma in that beautiful one titled Equally. L'artiste est parti il y a quelques années, mais sa musique continue à jouer. Okay, let's move now to Buea, the regional headquarters of the Southwest in Cameroon. We are in Central Africa, where Agbor is already on the line. Let's find out if the director of Zoom Studio Works is with us. Are you with us, Obed?
Yes, I'm with you.
So, what name should I call you? Is it Agbor or Obed?
Hello?
Yeah, so what name should I call you? Is it Agbor or Obed?
You can call me Agbor Obed, or you call me AOA. That's my showbiz name.
Okay, AOA. Okay, so you're a filmmaker and you run the Zoom Studio Works, situated in the university neighborhood Moliko in Buea, southwest of Cameroon. And I must say that your studio has been doing quite some great works the past couple of months. That is why we decided to get you on this show. So the first thing is that you just completed Damaru. Damaru is a short film which is highly anticipated. So could you just tell us more about this short film? Did you do it for festivals?
No, I didn't do it for festivals, but nevertheless, we only do things to showcase and face because there are avenues where we meet people, and also avenue where we can reach a wider audience. But I just did it because I believe the people who are handicapped in general, and the deaf in particular, they are mistakes in society. So that's just trying to highlight an idea, like something in society where people consider as abnormal, that these people are living with are normal people, and if, for example, we can see them differently, and I believe that despite us, the way we are, like normal people, we can do extraordinary things.
Right. So, for the sake of our listeners, how long is this short film, and who is the author of the story?
The short film is 24 minutes. The author of the story is me, Giscard Cedric, and Marcel. We just, we're discussing because this story originally happens to my cousin, impregnated a deaf girl in the village. So we had to, and I all the scenario what happened. I just said this is really interesting. Now we did some research also based on realities. We have seen pregnant young girls who have been raped. They don't know the father of their child. Those who have given birth. So you just, and most of them, they don't go to school because most of the schools that are existing are very expensive, and we don't have government schools. Most of the schools are created by NGOs. So most of these girls, I just think this is something that's important people to know, should know about. People don't consider, they see these people who are deaf or handicapped as, the population is too small, so they neglect that aspect. Originally, the story is ours, but it was screenplayed by Sister Eka and Granny Hansen.
Yeah, I must say that this short film got ample publicity. So how long did it take you to complete this project, and just what did it entail in terms of financial, material, and human resources?
We started this project in February 2014 from scratch, from the initial idea, and then we started pre-production. When we were done with pre-production, we sent the script to Krista Eka, and when she saw it, then she was in the country, and her film Belgium was nominated for Film Africa in the United States of America. So she said she had to make 2 weeks there. So we sent her the script, she reviewed and felt we can do something better. We worked on the script and we had to start. So she instead spent 3 months in New York, so we had to wait for her. She was the perfect in terms of how we wrote the script, in terms of my vision. She was the one who had to fit in the character. So we had to wait for 3 months until May, where she came back, and then we worked on the script, did the rehearsals, did all the location, all the clinical part of the stuff, and we shot. We shot from the 14th of May. We took about a week to shoot the project, and we stayed in Douala for close to a week.
Okay, we're talking there to Agbor, Obed Agbor, AOA, filmmaker par excellence with ample knowledge in editing, directing, and lots more. So, tell us, Damaru is produced by Zoom Studio Works, situated in Boya. Could you just tell us a little bit about this outfit, and what were the objectives you set when you created this studio?
Our objective overall, because Studio Works is a media house, our endeavor has always been to provide solutions for effective communication through photography, television, filmmaking, and design. We consider ourselves as African and as a Cameroonian in particular, because we believe Cameroon is so diverse with so much culture and diversity, and we believe, we can showcase this cultural diversity through photography, television, and filmmaking. So we intend to in all the aspects, especially in filmmaking, which we are talking about now, we intend to use our culture, what is happening in reality. Because you go to the northwest, the southwest, littoral, they have cultures, and they have certain things people can use filmmaking as a tool to communicate these things and see a way to make our society a better place. Our vision is just to provide effective communication through all these aspects, be it TV, be it filmmaking, design, and photography. That has been our greatest goal. And which we are also trying to bring new artists in this domain to feel different in terms of how they can tell their stories and try to emulate our style, because everything that starts from somewhere. It doesn't. Somebody has to start to do something for others to follow and believe in what they are doing. So our objective has always been that, and we are trying to forge, even though we have difficulties, we have confrontation in terms of our style. But we believe so much that we are steadfast, and so from the look of things of Damaru, people appreciated the work, and I think people now start doing. Based on realities, based on what they are facing in society, based on our locations, like we shot in Toilet, people have been asking, there's a tea station where there's a tea estate in Toilet, so I believe people should use what we have to showcase to the world what we have here in our continent, in our country in particular.
Okay, tell us which are some other productions you have had so far with Zombo Studio Works.
We venture in terms of TV. We have a show called The Good, the Bad, the Funny of Granny Hansel. We are working also on How to Guide. It's a comedy show where we try to take certain areas in society to give it a funny way so people can be educated through that means. We also work on documentaries. We are working now on a digital documentary which Nnabue is in charge of writing. We want to talk about how social media, digital everything has become how it has affected our community, our lifestyle, and stuff. So, and we are working on those projects. We are working on the TV serial now by Billy Bob, which we are working on now. So those are some of the things that we are working on. The photography too, design. We also work for clients to do their designs and their photo shoots and stuff.
Right.
So those are some of the things we do, yeah.
Right. Tell us, Agbor, Obed, Agbor. I know you have a lot of interest in TV directing and editing. Could you just tell us more about these two and why you chose to be a TV director and an editor?
I've always admired being a director. I watched a lot of films when I was, we started from Nigerian films before going out to Hollywood. My lifestyle, I've always been a story. I believe so much that filmmaking is a tool where you can change the lives of people. The people who watch a lot of TV, digital media is a platform. Everything is surrounded because media is the platform where you can change the world because it controls the world. It's a tool that controls the world. So I believe through media we can effectively communicate to our friends, family, the world, to see the world different, the way they see it. I ventured to editing because my passion. I love what I do. It's passion and a tool for change because I believe so much in change to see the world a better place. I believe media, directing, editing is a platform for me to continue my own pattern. The world.
Right. Now, Christy Eka, whom you mentioned a while ago, is a frontline Cameroonian actress with several awards to her credit. Tell us your experience working with this movie star.
Christy Eka, I can say she is the best person in terms of acting, in terms of that I've ever worked with. First of all, she's not only an actress, she's a director, she's a screenwriter. And when we proposed the project to her, I said, okay, Christy Eka, you are the perfect character for this project. And when she looked at it, she took upon herself to do the screenplay of the film. She collaborated with Nnabue Ike. We came out with the final script, the final draft of the script. She's a wonderful person. She's the most comprehensive person I've ever met working on set with. She facilitated everything. She sacrificed. We did about 3 months training for the sign language. We visited the Boya school for the test together. We worked. She traveled from Limbe to Boya. Within a week, she can come about 5 times. We had a private teacher. We go to there. So she's there. I don't know. That's how this project could have worked. So I always say, okay, thanks to Christy Eka because she did a wonderful job to put this project where it is today.
Right. Okay, I must say coup de chapeau to you for the great works you and Zumho Studio Works are doing out there in Cameroon. Before you go away, Obed, what projects are you currently working on?
Now we are trying to make Damaru a serial because I've considered that people who are deaf, they don't have something they can watch on TV, so they just watch TV, we don't have subtitles or things there. So we are trying to work on a project where we can look for sponsors who can support the project because we want to come out with a project, really serial that talks about people who are deaf, how they live in society, how they relate to others who are normal, how families who are deaf, how they live. So we just want to show, so that's the project we're working on now. I'm also working, as I said, we're working on a TV serial for the government the Congo called Rumble. So I'm working together for our own. That's what I've been working on, and that's what I'm working on now.
And that is the height of independent production out there in one of Central Africa's biggest economies. I'm talking about Cameroon. Thank you so much, Agbor, Obed, for this show up on African Cocktail this day. Do have a fantastic rest of the day out there in Boya.
Thank you very much, Kanjo. Thank you so much for your support from the start. You have been very supportive. I really appreciate your enormous support you have given to Zumo Studio Works and the entertainment industry in general. I really applaud what you are doing. Thank you very much.
Thanks to the Almighty God who gives us the energy, the will, the power, and of course everything to be able to do all of this. So, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you just joining us, this is the 71st episode of African Cocktail, and still to come, Titus Banyoh's Belgium report, Solomon Atah's South Connects from Johannesburg, and of course we shall also be listening to Best Davis. Then when we move to Houston, Texas, we shall be talking to Dtyme Ibe and the director of The Other Side, which will be launched this Sunday. Let's listen to some music, then we'll be right back. Okay, and that one is titled Sengato by Tom Yoms and Charlotte Mbango. You're listening to African Cocktail, 13 minutes past 11. It's time for us to move to the metropolitan city of Antwerp. Our man in Belgium calls it the city of diamond. Titus is on the line for his report. Good morning and welcome to the show, Titus. Oh, is it good afternoon over there?
Yes, good most of you out there in the United States of America, out here in Belgium, Midak to mean good. And if you are welcome to the diamond city where it has been raining all day long. And when it rains, and there's little to talk about. And that's just one lone activity today, or one lone news story of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon, that's the PCC, Right Reverend Festus Atah, has rounded off his working visit to Belgium and Finland. While in Belgium, Right Reverend Dr. Atah inaugurated and dedicated the Christian Men Fellowship Group of PC Leuven. That's one of the diaspora congregations of the PCC out here in Belgium. He later proceeded to PC Antwerp, where it all began in 2004. On Sunday, October 19, Ernest, the moderator, presided at the 5th anniversary of PC Ghent, which brought together Christians with the PCC background all over Belgium and also from Mülheim, Germany. In his homily, the Right Reverend Atah, in the word 137, urged the Christians to continue to sing the Lord's song in land. He lauded the efforts of Christians who so far have remained fast, worshiping the Lord way they were brought up in. Ernest and Ken Shally Monette, it must be noted that Belgium has been an inspiration for and has now spread to Germany and Finland. Belgium has 3 recognized congregations from the PCC and a prayer cells in Brussels, while Finland is coming up very powerful and strong. Then we also have the Mülheim and Stuttgart congregations, which are also part of the PCC. Ernest, well, like I said at the beginning of this report, when it rains out in Antwerp, nothing is happening. But we thank God we had this lone story to provide to African Cocktail. If you have any questions, I'll be right here to answer them. If not, the rendezvous will be taken for next week, Ernest.
The rendezvous for next Wednesday, and when it rains in Belgium, then there is nothing to talk about. Fortunately, we had that long story from our reporter in Antwerp talking about the visit of the moderator of the Presbyterian Church in Cameroon, the Right Reverend Dr. Festus Asana, who has been visiting that part of Europe. Okay, Titus, thank you so much. We hope to have you again next week for more contribution. Let's have some music, then we're based to go to Maryland.
I sing at all.
That one is titled Singer 2 by Tom Yoms and Charlotte Bango. It's coming to you from Africa Radio, the 71st episode with Ernest, Kanjo, your Wednesday friend. And like I said, Bess Davies is a USA Nollywood actor who is very prominent as far as Nollywood movies in the USA are concerned. He's also part of the 48 Hours project by Desarray Ay, and of course Kem Bumbara, whom we are receiving today as main guest. Now we want to find out how Bess got involved in this project, so let him tell us his own part of the story. Bess, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
So how are you today?
I am doing wonderful, thank you.
We got you on this show some time ago to talk about, I think, Payback. So how has Payback been doing since then?
Payback, it's still in the post-production process.
Right.
It's almost done, and hopefully the producer will have it released very soon.
Okay. So, we brought you to the show today to talk about 48 Hours. How did you get involved in this project, which is highly anticipated?
The producer, Desarray Ay, contacted me and told me he has a project that she wanted to work on, and there is a character she thinks that I would be able to play very well. And And I said, okay, just send me the script, and I'll take a look at it, and I'll let you know.
And when you took a look at the script, what attracted you to it?
Well, when I received the script, I read it. It was out of the ordinary. It was something different from every film I've been involved in. And I called her back, and I asked her, are you sure you really want to produce this film? She said, yeah, she's worked on it and she's ready to go. I said, okay. The reason I asked her that question was, it was completely different from a regular Nollywood film. So I told her, yes, that's fine. Let's make it happen. And I told her I had actually accepted the role, and then we went from there, and she told me the plans, the schedule, and the filming dates. And we worked out everything, and then I went on set.
Right. So tell us about the character you're playing.
The character, Nicholas Kato, he's like a delusional, dimensional, unstable human being who just in his mind thought he was trying to save someone, then realized he wasn't doing it the right way. Well, I'm not going to give you all the details because I still want people to watch the film and then find out for themselves.
Now, I understand that every movie you do as an actor gets into your CV, and no actor wants to get a bad CV with a bad movie. So, are you satisfied with the performance you put up in 48 hours? Best.
With every production that I'm involved in, each day that goes by, I improve in my acting and all that. I would say that satisfaction is actually relative. Yeah, it's so to say. I'm not going to say I'm not satisfied as an actor. I'm always satisfied with my performances, but I always step it ahead with every following production.
Okay, so tell me, what was your experience with the rest of the cast and of course the crew in this movie?
I would say I will give it to Desarray. She did a very, very good background work. She had everything lined up. She had every plan, concrete, everything set. So every member of the cast and every member of the crew was on point. Desarray did a very good work, and it was fun working with my fellow cast members and the crew members too. It was really fun. We had a lot of fun on set.
Right. Now, Bess, I have a tendency of doing some background work before I ever get on the air. And it looks like you said somewhere that 48 Hours is a new dimensional movie. Yes, that's how you describe 48 Hours. A new dimensional movie. What did you mean by this?
Like, when I say it's a new dimensional, I mean what I said. Based on the fact that I've been in so many films, so many Nollywood films, this very one, this 48 Hours, is not just one section. It's not sectional. It's all embracing. It's like you're watching a three-dimensional television. That is how to describe 48 Hours. It is all embracing. When you watch 48 Hours, you will definitely find something that will attract you. It's not only concentrated on love, it's not only concentrated on the speed, it's all embracing. It has the thriller feel, it has the drama feel, it has the romance feel, everything is encompassed in 48 Hours.
That's interesting. So, if you have to market this movie, briefly, what will you tell its potential consumer?
48 Hours is for everyone, except that there are some things that kids might not be able to watch. So it's going to be parental guidance for the kids to watch some of these things. Some of the things are explicit. When I say explicit, they are scary, very scary. They might drive the kids nuts. They might make them have nightmares. So their parents definitely will have to guide them.
Right.
When those things come up, yeah.
Best, thank you so much for joining us in this episode of African Culture. Before you go away, what project are you involved in right now?
Currently, I am rounding up a production titled Pains of Life, and then I'm actually going on set again this coming weekend with a production for Prime International, title Changes.
Okay, well, that's interesting, Bess, and we'll do our best to keep trailing you in your exploit. Thank you so much, and do have a fantastic rest of the day out there in Maryland.
Thank you so much for all your work in the entertainment industry. You've been doing so great, so wonderful work, and I appreciate your efforts and your good deeds. Thank you so much.
Okay, we thank God. His name is Bess David, Nollywood actor based in the United States of America, featuring in lots and lots of movies, including 48 Hours of Desarray Ay, directed by Kem Bumbara, both of whom are guests in this episode of African Cocktail. Let's have some buzz of music, then we'll be right back with our main guest. And that is a Cameroonian style zouk there, titled Verité. And the author of that one is Qualar of blessed memory. We'll definitely come back to that beautiful one titled Verité by Qualar. Time for us to move back to Maryland and meet Desarray Ay and Kem Bumbara. Desarray and Kem, welcome back.
Hi, everyone.
Now, Desarray, for how long have you been an actress, briefly?
Ooh, you're gonna make me show my age on national radio.
If you can, Desarray, show us.
You can say I've been doing it over the last 10 years, but I've been doing it extremely professionally for the last 6 years. For the last 6 years, I've really been taking it to another level and working with I've worked in Hollywood, and then over the last 2 years transitioning to Nollywood. So about 6 years now, yeah.
Right. Okay, let's make a quick count of the number of movies you've featured in so far.
Oh my God. Number of feature films. Okay, number of feature films. I'm at 30 at this point. 30 films. 30 films, 5 music videos, I think 2 documentaries, yeah. Oh my God, I feel old now.
Right. I know we can't just go ahead and count everything. But now, tell me, you should have one of those movies which you consider as the most challenging.
The most challenging film. You know, ironically enough, I used to feel, before doing 48 Hours, I thought the most challenging film that I had to do was a film called The Smoking Gun. Next film, I played a young female who my father had passed away, and my mother went through a spiraling transition where she started dating men, and those men were molesting my character. And then I ran into a life of prostitution. I thought that was the most challenging film I ever did, because I had to go places, because that character is nothing like me, from the way she spoke to the way she dressed to the vulgarity. So it took me a minute to really get into that character and break down that character and understand why this character was important. But shooting 48 Hours, Giselle White is now probably the most challenging character I've ever played, because that character, I had to be open with my emotions the whole entire movie. There's not a scene where my emotions isn't on my sleeve, and I'm not I'm not crying. I'm not gasping for emotion. You know, I had to be very vulnerable, and I don't think anyone really likes to walk around extremely vulnerable, but I did. The whole entire time shooting, my character called for me to be very, very vulnerable. So probably one of the most challenging characters I've played. This one actually, and the character in the movie Victimized that's coming out next year too. Yeah. Two characters that called for a lot of emotion in every single scene.
Right.
And as an actor, you have to figure out where you're going to go to remain sad and to remain depressed for that emotion to emote on your face.
Right.
So, yeah.
Just to say that Victimize is produced by Shally Monette, who is one of the resource persons on this show. I would also imagine that you've done some stage drama as well. What has been your experience in this other area?
Well, it's been some time since I've done stage play. The last stage play I did was probably about 5-6 years ago, and that was the stage play The Three Kings, and I had an amazing time doing it. There's something about being on a live stage and getting that instant audience reaction. So if you do good, if the audience likes it, they clap. If you're crying and they believe you're crying, they cry with you. If you're funny and they believe you're funny, they laugh. So it's that instant gratification. You know, as an actor, sometimes we make movies and we think that we did our best, but then you have to wait months and months and months to find out what audiences really think. Whereas in a stage play, you find out every single night exactly what your fans and the audiences think.
Right.
There's a different type of feeling. There's an adrenaline rush too, because you know your heart is beating so fast because you're so nervous, but at the same time it's so exciting.
Right.
I look forward to doing one in the future again. Yeah.
Okay, let me turn to Kem. Kem, what would be the difference between directing a station or a play on stage and directing a movie?
Well, first of all, you know, stage, you can't, I would say you can't mess up on the stage play. So, that one is more difficult, directing the stage play. Like I was in PG with, PG Community College, I did theater arts, we did, a couple of plays on stage play. You know, I participated in, directing it, and we bring, I produced it as well, and we bring up, a lot of, the actors have to be on point, so we have to make sure that, you know, to come up with the lines right, because you can't mess up on stage play. It has to be straight and direct, and bringing out the message is pretty tough. With filming, you know, we get to do a lot of takes, you know, and if you mess up, that's fine, and we can take it again. Like on 48 Hours, we had, you know, I mean, I was pretty good with 48 Hours because I had an amazing cast. People came through, they know what to do, and I was really proud of them, and everybody gave me what I wanted.
Right.
And we have to take, you know, me and Desarray, we talk back and forth, and we like what we see, and, you know, we go for the take, we check out the shots, we like the shots, we keep it. Or not, if not, we have to redo it again and again till we get it right.
Right.
So, yeah.
Thank you for that education, Kem. Back to the actress. Desarray, you are one of the leading actresses in Captive, produced by Obed. This short film recently won the WMIFF Best Short Film Award. Now, how do you feel being part of that production, which is already going places?
You know, I feel humbly blessed by it all. From Captive, winning Best Short Film, to all the success that One Night in Vegas has, Kobe Maxwell's project, I'm also in that film, to the incredible message that's in the film All Things, shot by John Uche. I get messages daily about people who, you know, bought that DVD.
Okay, we're sorry about that technical hitch. We just lost our guest there. Okay. We hope we'll get back to them. Let's have some music, then we'll fix that out. That one is titled Verite by Ogen Qualar. You're listening to the 71st episode of African Cocktail, coming to you from Africa Radio with Ernest Kanjo at exactly 11:36, which is of course 5:36 in the city of gold, Johannesburg. Let's move over there and find out what our man Solomon Atah has for us this day. Solomon, welcome to the show.
Welcome to you, Ernest, and the listeners to Johannesburg, the city of gold. I'm sitting in our mini studio, which has been donated to us by the Reef Hotel in the financial district of Johannesburg. Ernest, I have a very, very special guest that I will be introducing to you and the listeners in a very few seconds. Ernest?
That's beautiful. Just like last week with Derek, I hope our guest today is another exciting gentleman. Let's discover him, Kenneth, Solomon.
Thank you, Ernest. Ernest, I have with me in the studio, a gentleman by the name of Zama Titi. Zama Titi is a business analyst for one of the major banks in South Africa. Zama Titi is also a speaker, but more importantly, Zama Titi is a relationship groomer.
We're sorry about that again. Looks like we have a lot of technical difficulties on the show this day. We're definitely going to sort that out, okay? Let's have some music, then we'll be back. That one is titled Verite by Ogen Qualar. You're listening to the 71st episode of African Cocktail, coming to you from Africa Radio with Ernest Kanjo at exactly 11:36, which is of course 5:36 in the city of gold, Johannesburg. Let's move over there and find out what our man Solomon Atah has for us this day. Solomon, welcome to the show.
Welcome to you, Ernest, and the listeners to Johannesburg, the city of gold. I'm sitting in our mini studio, which has been donated to us by the Reef Hotel in the financial district of Johannesburg. Ernest, I have a very, very special guest that I will be introducing to you and the listeners in a very few seconds. Ernest?
That's beautiful. Just like last week with Derek, I hope our guest today is another exciting gentleman. Let's discover him, Kenneth, Solomon.
Thank you, Ernest. Ernest, I have with me in the studio, a gentleman by the name of Zama Titi. Zama Titi is a business analyst for one of the major banks in South Africa. Zama Titi is also a speaker, but more importantly, Zama Titi is a relationship groomer.
We're sorry about that again. Looks like we have a lot of technical difficulties on the show this day. We're definitely going to sort that out, okay? Let's have some music, then we'll be back. Okay, Solomon is back on the air. We have some technical difficulties there. Solomon, welcome back.
Thank you, Ernest. I was just speaking to Zama Tikizuma, introduced as a business analyst for one of the major banks here in South Africa. Zama is also a speaker, and more importantly, Zama is going to be speaking to us today about relationship grooming. Welcome to us today, Zama.
Thank you, gentlemen, for having me today. Relationship grooming today, it's something that should ask. The funny thing is, growing up and seeing a lot of couples around, speaking around with people, and finding out what really one needs.
As a matter of fact, we have a lot of technical difficulties. I don't know what the problem is between Ohio and Johannesburg. Okay, let's try to sort that out. We're sorry for that, please.
Écoute les mots d'amour de JP. Ça.
Okay, Solomon is back on the air. Let's try again and see what happens. Solomon, welcome back.
Thank you, Ernest. I was just speaking to Zama, who went on about relationship grooming. How did you come up with this word, relationship grooming?
As I said before, gentlemen, that going back into history, and part of the conversation that I've had with couples going forward, I find that men particularly do not like the institution of procreation or going into a family like I do. So I came up with a coin word, which I coined it myself, and I said relationship grooming. And once you put it across them, they positively respond to this. Much better than saying that if you have a problem with your family, and I'm going to take you to a family psychiatrist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But are you concerned, this is something that I also asked Linda Yende, that are you concerned that because there's quite a lot of relationships that are having issues here and there, there's a lot of women that are single mothers, are you concerned that the family unit is under threat, especially now that it's a festive season?
Yeah. Okay. This is not just the festive season. Post-colonialism in all African countries, no one has actually done an audit and actually looked at how has Africa dealt with the introduction of technology into our lives, cell phones into our lives, social media into our lives. All of a sudden, a relationship, or the institution of a relationship has become cheap. And people willingly get into a relationship without even thinking twice.
Like on social media.
So it's only now that even the institutions of government are responding when social media policemen are investigating cases. So we've never quantified. And looking at it at where we are right now, us and a couple of friends of mine have all come together and we quite agree that the institution of a relationship itself is under threat. It's under threat.
Okay. Because it's from social media or technology?
From everything. Because as humankind, as much as we evolve and things evolve around us, no one ever puts the brakes on and says, guys, let's stop.
Okay.
Let's actually look around what's happening. let's quantify what's happening, and whether what's happening or not is whether it's relevant, or is it for the good of humankind and for the bad of humankind. Everything that's put on the table, we just simply take it up on ourselves and we engulf it.
Okay. Let me ask you, before you would have been sitting with some similar experiences that would have led you to, let me put it this way, what is your motivation about this project of relationship grooming?
I love seeing humanity happy.
Okay.
And I cannot help but feel that there are some core skills that either a man or a woman should have in order for them to form a relationship with another human being. The reason why the rate of divorce is going so high is not because of any phenomenon. It's just human intuition and human relationships are breaking down at such a high level. We're losing our ability to effectively communicate with one another. We got to the stage.
Okay, apparently we will not have that interview from Johannesburg in its entirety. We're sorry about that. It happens. There are ugly days like this. Okay, we hope that everything will be put in order. Let's have some music, then we'll see what we have next.
Mitima Solantine
poème a été tout trempé par mes larmes. J'ai même pas pu écrire un mot pour te dire que je t'aime. N'attendis pas, me corps, mi-dima solantine. Ernestine Akono et Chantou Polo.
Okay, that one is titled Solantine by Sergio Polo. Just right ahead, we shall be moving to Boya, Cameroon, where our reporter Ifaana Qualar is with the Nollywood icon Clem Omaheze, ready to talk live on this show. Okay, don't just go, lots and lots of interesting items still coming up.
I say dans tes bras, bébé, oh, mon amour, je jure c'est toi.
It's exactly 11:53 here in the city of Columbus, United States of America, and time for us to move to Boya, Cameroon, where we have our Central African correspondent Ifaana Qualar, who is with Nollywood icon Clem Omaheze, ready to talk live in this edition of African Cocktail. Ifaana Qualar, are you with us? Let us know.
Good afternoon, Ernest, and listeners of African Cocktail. Welcome to the show. I am in Boya, southwest region of Cameroon. With me today is one of Nigeria's finest, Clem Omaheze. Clem is known for playing as a politician, the pastor,
That Cameroon is all about, other than what we read about. Okay, and watch about Cameroon. That's the only knowledge I have about Cameroon.
Okay. What did you know about Cameroon? Just tell me something you knew about Cameroon.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind, when you think about Cameroon is the mountain. Okay. No, of course. The mountain is a tourist, a very great tourist attraction. Well, of course, the lions of Cameroon, they're very popular. The likes of Banyoh, who is an icon of football from Africa. And they're working for Rosa.
Yes. Now, what has marked you most about Cameroon 2021?
Well, like I said, I've never really had time to move around, to the workload do the lead out home, a whole lot of challenges, a whole lot of things as expected of me. I've got my baby to be rice and flat fish.
Why?
And the double fish.
Why?
Well, like a chick.
I feel it's like something Cameroon.
Yeah, I've heard so much about your delicacies, and I look forward to it. But like I said, no time. In the morning, we'll grab a light meal and tea or coffee, and we're off to work.
You eat the quantity, the problem.
Oh, that's great.
So, what brings you to Cameroon?
A film project.
Okay.
A film project.
So can you tell us a little about the project?
Well, it's a normal, conventional story of rituals. Okay, it has to do with rituals. So these people say, these men, young man, where we want to people who grab girls, get see them hard, get them hard, get them hard, and treat them to the European. That's what it's all about. Yeah.
So how far has the shipping been going?
Wonderful. Yeah, we're wrapping up. So that's a completely unfortunate. After being told the first guy, the first guy, who goes about getting this UN bomb at the church.
When you ask them what the many of the movies have been used.
Well, I think it's every time.
Yeah, and you that so. Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
And you have the role.
Yeah, I just got to that too.
I like that. Wonderful actor.
Thank you.
I think so. Did you know how to stand for coming to the country, or you just met them when you talked about the project?
No, of course I'm not global. And two very popular activities, that go towards starting the year. They're good guys, And I was always looking forward to working with them. We'll be talking before, I think them when they come to Nigeria, and we'll be talking about this is the project I'll be back to produce my own film.
To produce your own film?
Oh, yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
That's really nice. Like that. So, how would you accept the movie that has come in?
Full of correction. You have to come in with style. It's a conventional African style. What happens to
so what's the about that caught you attention?
Yeah, because I think that's what I should do. Most times when I accept songs, I put songs that put me in a position with full 7 years going on in the style. you will agree with me that when you talk about Africa, one thing that really comes to your mind is ritual.
Yes, yes.
Okay, and it's been ongoing in a whole lot of countries in Africa. You know, it's not a welcome to kind of I'm concerned. Okay, because it's led us to a whole lot of things like, or issues like child abuse, and the whole lot, you know, prostitution, we just found the crowd missing, and people missing, and the children missing, you know, and then you see our politicians don't have nothing. You know, we hear like when politics is around the corner, people begin to disappear. And let's not forget that Africa as a country, African economy is really in a reposition of the world over. So things that we think that should not be heard, and it's not going to stop us. But to actually say that we got today, and I was back to her, that the still, you know, see how we can of the benefit.
Have you watched any Cameroonian before?
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay, now, let me get a little personal. Everybody knows the Clem everybody. Nobody knows much about you. Are you married?
I don't like talking about my very story.
Oh,
I like to leave my family outside when I do.
Okay. Yeah. So, apart from acting, what do you do?
The businessman.
Okay.
Yes, I own a 20-room bookstore in my country. You understand?
What do you like?
In a booth now.
In Abuja. I don't know actually in Abuja. Okay. So, my next thing will be like, how do you spend your leisure time?
Well, I'm work. Work.
So you just work, you work, on this you work.
I tell you what, the whole work is done. Because the film, for now, is one medium, you know, we are using to tell our African style. Not. The whole lot of big laundry to be done in this country. Okay, and the film that we speak right now, I think to be one of those very mediums, you know. So you can see that there's really no time. Work from January to December. But what really usually I find is I can't do that.
Yes.
Yes, I can't do that.
You watch your own movie?
Also, I said, not to see that.
Like, I want to watch this.
No.
What do you think you want? French?
French, you said?
Yes, Ifaana, can I just find out from your guest who has been filming in Cameroon to tell us about Cameroonian actors he's been working with. How do you assess the Cameroonian actors you've been set with so far, Clem?
You know, upon my arrival a week and 2 days ago, I took time to take some of them to my embassy. You know, we had audience with my embassy because it is to have them establish a very solid film industry here. Because I see great potential here. But what I think we need is support from the private sector and the government. Okay? I'm drawing this inference from the fact that Nollywood in my country helped to rebuild my country's economy from number 2 in Africa to number 1, and then from number 37 in the world to 24th in the world. So to speak right now, that the Nigerian economy is first in Africa was as a result of Nollywood's contribution. So it's a huge industry that the government needs to tap into, you know. Because there's a whole lot of potential here. You know, my coming here has exposed me to a whole lot of things, and I'm coming back here again in a few weeks. I want to come back here and produce my own personal film, you know, because they have everything here I need. Everything here. Great potential, but it needs to be tapped. The private sector has to be, they should encourage. The private sector has to get involved. The government has to get involved for this industry to thrive.
Any other question, Ernest?
I just want to find out from Clem how he thinks Cameroon can benefit from the Nigerian film industry. We understand that Cameroon is a fast-growing film industry, and we've been trying to make this collaboration with Nigeria. But it looks like Cameroon doesn't really know what they want from Nollywood. So what does Clem think that Cameroon can benefit from Nollywood precisely?
The collaboration is very important. Okay, it is very important. But funding, I think one of the constraints they have here is funding. Those that are scared to delve into the industry, you know, they're scared to fund, you know, film here, you know, and which is not helping the industry at all. You know, even if we get involved in the level of collaboration, it will benefit my country, not Cameroon. Because we have those back in my country we call the marketers who are into distribution. And the money they got into Cameroon, they're going to stay the market. And that's what I do not want to happen in Cameroon, because I know them, they're hard. It's a cabal. It's a cabal. You know, I want to get involved in film here. It's going to be a disaster for Cameroonians. So they're business minded. They're ready to provide the funds, provide everything, but they will hijack the industry. And the Cameroonians will not come anywhere close to it. And this I do not want to happen. So it's a matter of collaboration, of collaborating with the Cameroonian actors, you know, who I see as great actors, you know. But it's a matter of communal funds, technical funds, so they can do their own thing themselves. Okay, bring us in here, or I say we can help them grow. We'll collaborate with them and they will grow. This happened, we did it in Ghana, you know, back in 1998. You know, today you said, I think 100 big set of better with them, which I started 4 years ago. Alright? Why can't we replicate it here? So, for me, it's a matter of funding. Getting the private sector involved. You know, that's the most important thing, other than collaborating.
Okay, Ernest? Hello, Ernest?
Yes, Ifaana?
Okay. I'm sure this is all we have for you from Boya. Our Clem Omaheze, also known as Pastor Weaver, or popularly known as Pastor Weaver. After Boya, it's a goodbye. You have to go back on stage. He's a good man. So thank you, Ernest.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ifaana, for that very special guest we had there. And we hope to have him again some other time on the show. Okay. That was our Central African correspondent, Ifaana Qualar, there with Clem Omaheze, who is a frontline Nollywood actor. Unfortunately, we only had difficulties getting that through. We've been having a lot of technical difficulties this day. Don't know why. But then, everything will be fixed. Let's have some music, then we'll be right back. Okay, we are gradually but steadily running to the end of the show. Not a very good day, technically speaking. Let's go back to Maryland and find out if our guests are back. Desarray and Kem, are you back with us?
Yes, we're back.
Okay, Desarray, just tell me, I know you've had some relationship with Hollywood. How has that been so far? Could you just explain it to us?
With my relationship with Hollywood, it's been great. You know, when I was able to put out my novel, Desarray, I was able to do some pretty exciting things and meet some pretty exciting people. I worked with Miss Tyra Banks. I worked with Wendy Williams. I worked with Anderson Cooper. I was able to work with a talented singer by the name of Bobby Valentino. I was able to meet one of the biggest Hollywood actresses, Goldie Hawn. You know, it had taken me places, last couple of years, just working on different movie sets, from 666 Park Avenue, to, HBO's Deep, that's on HBO right now with Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I've been keeping myself busy.
Okay, let's move to Kem, the director. Kem Bumbara, tell us, they say the success of any movie depends on its director. In short, the movie is the director. So, is that what actually inspired you to get into film directing? Knowing that you're going to, be at the forefront of the production?
Not exactly. Like I said earlier, I've been into film. I love, creating films. And I would like to refer to myself more as a filmmaker, And that being said, it's just like I want to create film. I want people to create something, and people are able to sit in the theater room and get something from it, capture something from it. I believe in creating films. I don't really care about I'm not really looking into the fame or the awards and all that big stuff. It's just more creating film, and I want to be able to relate with my audience. Mostly I'm from Cameroon. I want to be able to portray my culture in the sense, get people to relate to what I think, to what I feel, or what's going on in my mind. Filmmaking is more of these crazy ideas and developing stuff, and that's what I want to do. And I want to get people to relate to what I feel and what I see life to be.
Now, tell us your experience when you directed your very first movie. When was that, and were you satisfied with the job?
Pretty much, yeah. First time is the first time for everything, like I said, and it's pretty challenging. Filmmaker. I started off. I've been doing short films. I've been doing music videos. I've been doing all that stuff. But when it came to making a film, I realized how challenging that could be. I didn't only direct the film, I have to be the DOP and the editor. And all that, creating the film is a lot of hard work, And it is very tough, but I can't complain, no regrets. It's pretty good.
And so which are some of the movies you've directed so far?
I did Alanka. That's a comedy film. It's going to be of next year. And I did a couple of short films. It's been on YouTube network that you can see, you can view. I did a short film. It's called Retribution. I did, a couple of more stuff. skits and all that. If you go on my YouTube channel, on our YouTube channel, actually, I'm with a group named Legacy, we call Legacy, and we've done skits, short films, and all that good stuff. We did a lot of comedy skits. You can check us out on YouTube, and you find out a lot on that, a lot of what I've done.
Okay. Now, coming back to 48 Hours, what was your experience working in this production?
I was hard work. It has been very tough for me and Desarray. After shooting the film, we went through a lot. I remember we getting up at 6 in the morning, 6 a.m., get on set by 8, we start shoot up till like 10 p.m. the next day. Like, it's been crazy. And then post-production too has been very hard. We sit down together. I'm in the studio. I'm in the studio right now. We're still working on some sound engineering and all that stuff. We're still working on sound, and it has been very tough for me. I mean, I would say this is the most challenging thing I've done, in movie world.
Desarray, briefly tell us what is 48 Hours all about, and what did it take you to get the movie to the stage at where it is now?
48 Hours is about a character by the name of Giselle White, my play, who is then kidnapped. And in her being kidnapped, her friend, her husband, Sebastian White, who's played by Jason Klein, the actor and poet, and Claudia Obed, who plays Michael Roberts, goes on this sort of frantic search in looking for her. And in looking for her, all these secrets begin to unfold. Lies and betrayals, all of those begin to unravel. But the beauty about 48 Hours is not just a story about a woman who gets kidnapped. It's everything that happens in between. It's all the twists and turns, because as the story unravels, everyone's going to have their pick at who the actual kidnapper is. So that's the suspense. And then on top of that, you're trying to figure out who masterminds this whole, the whole plot to kidnapping Giselle White and why. And it just the whole movie takes place in 2 days. 2 days, 48 hours. And it literally, I have to say, John was being real humble earlier when you asked him about the amount of work that we put in. I really gotta tip my hat off to him, because when we shot this film, we had, about a 2-week span. We did 17, 18-hour days shooting in rotation. We would shoot with the first group in the morning, shoot with the second group at night. We spent 5-6 days straight with no sleep, just drinking coffee, and then from going from pre-production to post-production to, 8-hour nights in the studio, and then for us to wake up and go to work. It took a lot of determination and consistency and, just hard will to just get this movie done. And I love it. I love that he's been my partner. I really could not have done this without him. I could not have done this without Prime International Productions, with Winston Tina Taylor, as well as my phenomenal cast. This film isn't my film. It's the whole entire cast's film, because God only knows what everybody brought to the table. So I really feel like I have to say that, because I'm extremely thankful for them.
Okay. Now, Desarray, I understand that you also run 13/88 Media, which is co-producing this movie with one other production outfit. Could you just tell us more about this production outfit of yours, what you've done so far, and where you intend to take it to?
1388 Media is just going to be a media-based production company that I'm beginning. One of my industry role models is Miss Winston Tina Taylor. That woman, she is a mother, she is a wife, and she is a businesswoman, and I love her to death. I'm probably obsessed with her, but don't tell her I said that.
But you know, I love her work ethic and the way she runs her empire, and she taught me so much in terms of being a woman and being in charge and being grateful. You know, when I began 48 Hours, the production team behind 48, as far as the boom, the hair and makeup artist, you know, the set designer, all of that, I put together a group of people, and I was like, you know what? This is what we're going to do. We're going to not only produce films, but we're going to create a production for film, for a film to actually look like a film, you know, and I'm so happy behind it. It's just going to be a media company that not only writes scripts, but we're also promoting film. The one thing that I think that is lost in film today is people don't put enough attention to detail after the film is done to promote the film. And that's what 1388 Media does. We do PR, we do marketing, we come up with campaigns to make sure people know about your film, so it doesn't just end at a premiere. No, now we got to get it to DVD. Now we got to make the DVD sell. Now we have to make the DVD reach all the way to Istanbul. I want people to know about these films, and that can only happen when you truly campaign and market and PR your films. So yeah, that's what 1388 Media does.
Okay, thank you so much, Desiree and Kem. When we come back, we'll be running off this edition of African Cocktail. Let's have some music, then we'll be right back.
Monde musengi semba sese Oji wa mule mande wa mawoka ne moloko amuni wo sawe di mamende dola mamu Lai 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 amumi wende Lai baba lai nasa amu ayombai Lai 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 amumi wende Lai baba Omonde munya bomba loke ike Abolone la kisan Abolone dube Sabodi mamwende dola muzeru Lai 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 Amuni wende Lai baba Lai basa Adubu ayombae Lai 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 Amuni wende Lai baba
Alright, Light there by Guy Lobe. You're listening to African Cocktail, the 71st edition, coming to you from Africa Radio. Let's go back to Maryland and run off with our main guests, Desarray and Kem. You're welcome back, gentlemen and women.
Thank you.
Okay, Desarray, we're definitely going to find time again and talk about the movies, but away from movies, what else do you do? Your hobbies?
My hobbies right now is pretty much cultivating films. Right now me and Kem are getting ready to work on our next project that will be due in February. That's another big feature film that I want people to get excited about. We have a documentary that we're about to shoot as well as a short film. And, Kem is more busy than anybody because him and, True Legacy, they shoot short films, short scripts on YouTube practically every other weekend. Shout out to Kanjo, who actually just released his new freestyle video that he just put out on YouTube that was shot by Kem, and they already put that video out, which is doing so good. He's an amazing Cameroonian rapper, also from Team Legacy. So, Kem keeps me busy because Kem is always shooting, and Kem is always waiting for me to write new stuff, and it's like, okay, I'm ready for you.
Right.
So, yeah. So right now I'm just working on a couple of more scripts so we can do some really big things at the top of next year.
Right. And Kem, what do you do when you are not on set directing?
Editing.
Editing.
I remember me doing anything. At first I used to go out, play ball, play around, play American football and do all that good stuff, but now it has just been, filmmaking and just stay on computer, edit, create and stuff. Like she said, we're just working. We just work lately.
Right.
And for that hours, we are trying to make sure when people come in theater, we're able to get something from that film. It's just the sound quality. I'm trying to make sure everything comes out very, perfect.
Okay, gentlemen and lady, I'll come back to you just to say bye-bye. Time for us to go to Houston, Texas and get at least a word from film producer Dtyme Ngozi, who will be launching, or who will be premiering the other side next Sunday. Okay, this is African Cocktail. We are about to one of this episode of the show. We've had a lot of technical difficulties, but thank God we have succeeded to have Dtyme and her director who will proceed to launch The Other Side this Sunday. Dtyme, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
So, how is Houston today?
Houston is good.
And I understand you and your director, who has just arrived from Nigeria, will be premiering The Other Side this Sunday. So, how are you preparing for the event?
Oh, I'm preparing. Houston is ready. I'm here with Kem Bumbara, the director, and we're doing the finishing touch and the promos. We're excited and we can't do it this Sunday.
Right. So, tell us briefly, what is this movie all about, The Other Side?
It's about love, crime, and betrayal.
Right. And for how long did you work on this production, and who are the actors featuring in it?
Okay, the production actually took about 4 months, and we have Uche Jumbo, Chet Anakoya, Geography, Susan Wakade, and so many more. I am in the movie too.
Right, I know. And Uche Jumbo is one of the leading actresses in Africa. Tell us, how did you get her on this production?
Oh my God. She's a professional though. So working with her, you have to do it the professional way. And she's one of the best in Hollywood or in Africa. But I'm happy to have her on board. With the help of the director, Ike Bumbara, it was a bit easier for me to get her to come to my set.
Okay, Ike Bumbara, you're welcome to the US.
Thank you, bro.
So, how was your trip, Mr. Director?
Oh, my trip was a little bit stressful. I was robbed in Lagos on my way to the airport, so I lost my phone, and so that made the trip a little bit, stressful. Right. But I'm here now, and I'm ready.
No, tell us, usually it's not that easy to fly over a director from Nigeria to do a movie here in the US. How did you get on board this production? How was the arrangement?
Okay, first of all, I had to be Dtyme's work, especially the brat. When I saw the quality of work that was done and everything, it was not difficult for me to actually say yes to be part of the project.
And so, what was the experience working with Dtyme, the cast of the movie, and the other crew members?
It was fun. Like I always say, filmmaking ought to be fun. The day it stopped being fun for me, the day I started looking for another job. But so far, so good. It was really very fun working with Uche. I think that would be like the 4th or the 5th time I was working with Uche on a movie project. It was the first time I was working with Dtyme, and I was really impressed, with the professionalism and all that. And she's an amazing producer, because for director, one of the things that scares me the most is to work with a producer who is not on point. Because if you're working with a producer, she's more like your backbone, because everything has to be on point for the director to function properly. So Dtyme was always on point, and it was really great. And my director of photography, James Costello from Australia, he's an amazing DP. So it was great. It was fun. It was a wonderful process working on the project.
Now, how different is directing a movie here in the United States and back home? I know you've done lots of movies out there in Nigeria. Could you just compare the two scenes? Now, I just want to find out how different is it directing a movie here in the United States and doing that back home in Nigeria?
Okay, one of the things I will tell you up front is the scheduling. A lot of the actors here, they have their day jobs, so sometimes it's difficult to schedule and all that, whereas in Nigeria, everybody's, on the ground, everybody's in the camp, we put people in hotels, and so anytime you meet any character, they are
available for you. But shooting here, sometimes you need a certain character, and then they're at work. You have to reschedule, you have to work with their time, because most of them have their government job, but they still have this passion and this talent they want to exhibit. So you have to be flexible. Right. You have to understand all of that. So back home it's a lot more structured. There are people who that's all they do is full time, whereas over here, people do other stuff. So that's one of the major differences.
Let me turn back to the producer at the time. The event comes up on Sunday. So what are you going to have on the program?
What I have on the program?
Yes.
Okay, we have after party. After the movie, we have after party where we'll come together and talk about the movie and party. And we're having most of the my cast going to be there, most of them. And we're going to be having a lot of celebrities coming from Africa. Most of them, they've confirmed that it will be at the premiere. Right. It's going to be a celebrity affair. So we all have to come together. We're inviting everyone to come so we can have fun together. Now you can meet your favorite actors or actresses and ask them questions, things you want to know that you don't know.
And so, could you just remind us the time, the venue, and possible contacts for people who are interested to be at that premiere?
Okay, the venue is AMC Theater Studio 30, 2949 Donville Road, Houston, Texas. It's between West Ham and Donville. And the time for the movie is 7 p.m., 7 to 10. So we start red carpet at 7, and the movie starts at 8. So the movie at 8. And right after the movie, we're going to be going to the after party, and it's going to be at Trinity African Bar and Grill. It's 700 South Desna Road, Houston, Texas. And the number to contact is 832-388-9512.
Okay, thank you so much, Dtyme. Thank you, Ike, Nnabue, and do have a fantastic time out there. And we also wish you a safe trip back to Africa, precisely back to Nigeria, Mr. Director.
I hope to see you there.
Definitely, the time. I will be there.
Alright, we're looking forward to seeing you. Thank you very much for having us on the show.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, we're running out of this episode of African Cocktail. We will just go back to Maryland and say bye-bye to our guests. Africa there by Mario. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us in this edition of African Cocktail. We just want to say bye-bye to our main guests before we depart. So, Desarray and Kem, welcome back to this last phase.
Hi, yes, thank you for having us. We really enjoyed the show today. We really appreciate it.
Despite the fact that we had a lot of technical difficulties. So, Desarray, if there is some young person out there who wants to work with Desarray Ay, how can they get to you?
They can reach me on my Facebook, Desarray Ay. You can go to my official website, DesarrayA.com, Instagram, Twitter, all of it is Desarray Ay. And for people who are following the movie, it's 48 Hours the Movie on Instagram and Twitter. You can definitely reach me in any one of those realms. or just by hitting up Kem Bumbara on Facebook.
Kem, I know there are lots of Cameroonians out there doing movies, and they'll probably be needing you sometime to come. How can they get to you?
I'm on Facebook, Kem Bumbara, and Instagram, same Kem Bumbara, Twitter as well. You know, he's type the name Kem Bumbara anywhere. On Facebook, YouTube, I'm pretty sure you can find that. You can also reach me through Legacy. That's my team. Shout out, by the way, shout out to my team. That's Legacy, the whole entire crew, Champion Studios. You know, you can always get me through Dtyme Ngozi Ibe.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for letting us own a greater part of your day today. Thanks so much for accepting our invitation.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, those were our main guests in this edition of African Cocktail. It's really been a difficult one because of technical problems, but we hope to have a better show come next Wednesday, October the 29th, when we would have lined up other very interesting guests on this show. So we want to thank everybody who spent time with us today, especially our main guests, Desarray Ay and Kem Bumbara. And so that's how we put a full stop to this 71st episode of African Cocktail that came to you from Africa Radio this day, Wednesday, October the 22nd, 2014. It was a big and dynamic team, as usual, that kept you company this day. African Kitchen Manager, Susan A.A., Belgium correspondent, Titus Banyoh, Germany correspondent, Marcel, Adig, South Africa correspondent, Solomon Atah, Central African correspondent, Ifaana, Qualar, who had special guests today. Then African Cocktail Tele-Review, Crystal Beauty, resource person number 1, Kenneth Ngamne, who was monitoring the show from its start. Then resource person number 2, Suleiman Koyate, resource person number 3, Matthew Ayon, content critique, The White Bokori, production collaboration, Crystal Beauty, African Cocktail online promo banner, Adig Marcel, Bo Boateng, main guest in this episode of the show, Desarray Ay and Kem Bumbara, special guest, Dtyme Ngozi Ike, Nnabue, and of course Clem Omaheze. Then we had Agbor, Obed Agbor, and of course Bess Davis as other guests in this edition of African Cocktail. Collaboration, Gentle Awal Muhammad, DJ Cash, Mario Makinde, Seran KK, coordination Nana Ambem, Davis Odenyeho Apia. My name is Ernest, Kanjo, regular host of the show, asking you to join me again next Wednesday for yet another edition of African Cocktail. Until we meet then, it is bye bye, ciao, au revoir, merci, I'm gone, see you, and to God be the glory.